Welcome to A View in the Press Box, View from the Press Box. That's what we're starting to name this show. And if you're watching this, it's on a different YouTube feed. I'm still going to post it in the one that we've been posting it on. But we're going to do like 2 or 3 of them in that feed. We'll put it in both feeds. But from now on, we're going to be on a separate YouTube feed because we're going to start doing more of these more consistently, Glyn. So we're calling it A View from the Press Box. People really liked our show, which is surprising. I figured like 1 or 2 people would watch it. But
I figured we get hate mail.
That's right. But A View from the Press Box. So what our plan is as of now is to do a show 1 time per week for sure. Maybe multiple shows a week, but definitely on Sundays after the series and midweek games. So it's kind of like a recap of the weekend series and a look ahead. That's kind of our mantra as of now. And then probably once we get to postseason play and stuff, we'll start doing more shows and then breaking down regional predictions once it gets closer to that. But for now...
And hopefully some interviews mixed in with players and coaches as well.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're going to try to do. But for now, that's Glyn Dyar with 247 Sports, and I'm Dima Mixon here in the Pete Taylor Park Press Box after 2026 Baseball Media Day. Glyn, we talked to Coach Oz for about, I'd say almost 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Really good stuff there. You got to talk to Caleb Stelly and McCarty English. I had a plethora of players to talk with. I talked with McCarty, I talked with Gunnar Lejig, pitching coach, Matthew Russo, Colby Allen, Dre Barrett. I hit almost every player on the team, I feel like now. But I guess, Glenn, what would be your number one takeaway from Oz's 30-minute session?
Quiet confidence. I think probably this is his deepest pitching staff since 2021. Mm-hmm. Last year we kind of had to ride 7 guys and just ride them hard. Toward the end of the season, you could see guys starting to wear out. Although a couple of the true freshmen stepped up late and showed that they could get it done. This year, the biggest takeaway for me is that 1 through 7 is still strong like always, but now 7 through 14 is better than it's been in a long time. He's got an extremely deep staff. He's got bridge pieces. He's got closers. He's got lefty-righty matchups. Mm-hmm. For Oz, it's just a matter of managing it, which he knows how to do that.
Right, and when I was talking with Colby Allen and McCarty English, both of them asked me, are these freshman pitchers like some of the best you've ever seen? And they were like, dude, they're crazy. And I think Southern Miss fans should expect to see a lot of these freshman pitchers have roles this season.
Yeah, I guess in particular, was it Sam Mitchell?
Sam Mitchell running like 2,800 spin rate on his slider, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's easily 92, 93 as well. So, yeah, he's one of those exceptional freshmen. He's probably more ready as a freshman than maybe anybody we've had in the last couple of years. Right. Just from seeing him out here this fall, he was better at that age than McCarty or the big lefty Graydon Harris, better than him at that stage in his career. So that's impressive.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me, and Coach Ostrander was asked about like why this team is different, right? Like why should we? They've been on the verge of Omaha so many times, and
right.
And of course it's hard to get to Omaha. Like it's not. I don't necessarily blame any of the last losses on this team. It's just sometimes it's fortune, sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. It's baseball. That's the sport it is.
And it's almost like you got to have the luck from the baseball gods. Right. That year we actually was not nearly as talented a team as Corky had over that decade. It was just the baseball gods shined that year on Corky. In that last year, it was kind of magical because we only had really 2 starting pitchers and 1 closer.
Right. And of course, in Scott Berry's final season, that team wasn't necessarily his best team that he had, but that team was, a couple innings away from getting there. So, right. But what I thought was interesting was he said it's hard to predict, but I feel like this team gels well together. And I think that's just another example of today's college baseball world where, they have the Caleb Stellys, the Kyle Morrison, the transfer Thomas Crabtree is on the mound for them, transferring in, and they've got to gel with these veteran players they had. But Glenn, this team is so old in a sense where they have so many players who've been here for a long time, and the teams that really start separating themselves from the others are the teams that have seen college baseball a lot and who have succeeded, and maybe not necessarily to the level they want to be, but they've succeeded, which this team has. They've done incredible things. They're old, they're veteran, they're experienced, they're well led,
great leadership,
and they have a good pitching staff, and their offense is probably the deepest they've been in 5-10 years.
Yeah, just it takes me back, to fall when I was talking with Coach Creel. I asked that same question. I said, compare this team right now to the one you had the previous year. He said, we are so much older. Right. Last year there were so many question marks come into the season, and guys who had not taken significant ABs,
Mm-hmm.
in D1 baseball, they're old. They're guys out there who've been playing 2 and 3 years of hundreds of at bats. So, and he also mentioned, I said, what's the identity of this offense? And he pulls out the stat sheet, fall over fall. This group actually hit more home runs and doubles than the previous group, and we all know the power numbers those guys put up last year.
Right. And Dre Barrett was talking to me, and I asked him, obviously he had the home run numbers, but that strikeout number was kind of high for him, right?
Yeah.
And he said, listen, this fall season, like, all I've been trying to do basically is hit doubles and singles.
Yeah, eliminate swinging and miss.
And eliminate swinging and missing. And he said, and the power numbers still come. And I think, like, that to me, it's really encouraging. And it to me gets me excited a little bit because that tells me this team's going to be scary.
Yeah, and
it's going to be a hard lineup to go through as a pitching staff.
Yeah, I mean, with Dre, he had that pull side power. Now that he's letting balls travel deeper into the strike zone, trying to go backside, you're going to see him hit more backside home runs as a result.
Right, for sure.
And he's changed his body. All that baby fat's gone. He's a big old chiseled grown man.
He's a big
now.
boy. I mean, he came in and I was like, that's Dre Barrett.
Speaking of big boys, these guys are going to love Caleb Stelly. I got to talk to him for the first time.
And Oz said that he's pretty much 100% now, coming back from that injury. The injury was to his elbow? Or?
No, a disc in his lower back, which had caused him big problems the last 3 years. His career at UL, he's a middle of the lineup guy, could hit for power and average. I think he was an 8 home run guy and hit over 300, and was their best outfielder. He's going to probably play center field here, but I was talking to him a minute ago, and he said through my whole career I was getting shot up before every game just to get through a game, and he said it totally changed the way I swung the baseball bat. And he said now I'm Coach Creel's worked with me, changed some things with the way I'm standing. He might we talked about he might actually realize what kind of a power guy he is, because when he came in here and I shook hands with him, he's every bit of 6'1", 210, 215 pounds. He about broke my hand. He's a big, strong kid.
That's what gave you one of those Scott Berry handshakes.
Oh, it was Scott Berry times 2, man.
and of course, I would assume that everybody's penciling him in as the center fielder. Probably not going to be the speed, that Joey Urban. I'm forgetting his name. I'm blanking on Cooks. I'm sorry.
And the guy before him,
McIntyre before him.
Well, it's like Coach said; those guys are unicorns, outliers. Right. You don't get those guys. Stelly's going to hit for power and average, and he's going to give you a capable, everyday center fielder.
And that's what I wanted to talk about next. Is this team. I think it's big for them that it's not the fact that they lost some key players, of course. Of course, the everyday Pato and Tuna and
leadership is the biggest quality.
What's losing with him, and obviously, as you mentioned, Cook in center field and what he could do out there. I mean, a double, was caught, and you didn't even think about it. I think the fact that they lost both infielders, as far as Ozzie Pratt and Nick Monasterio, that's a big gap in the center of the field. Yeah. But this team and this program has been able to reload, and I have no doubt that they'll do it again. He talked about the middle infield, as Ostrander did. Middle infield is still a competition between Ty Long, Seth Smith. Mm-hmm. Second base, we thought it was Kyle Morrison's to lose. Seems like the freshman Moranto is pushing there.
He's one of the big stories of fall.
Yeah,
man.
and and Oz talked about how they can even move Smith to second if needed to be, because he's played there before. So personally, I'm not worried about it as far as defensively. I just wonder about offensively. Can those guys? I know Stelly can, but can the Smiths? Can the Ty Longs? Can the Morantos and Morrisons? Can they be the offensive power that they're losing with Pratt and Monasterio?
Yeah, the interesting thing about Moranto, I mean, we talked about him a couple of months. I talked to some of the coaches, and the consensus was he's going to be a redshirt guy. He's going to be a redshirt guy. Don't worry about it. After the fall ball, Coach Creel said, no, this kid's going to play. Yeah. So, and as a true freshman, he was, I think, second or third in batting average and hit over 300 for fall ball. That's kind of unheard for a freshman, considering the quality and depth of our pitching staff as well.
Yeah.
And he's a natural fielding second baseman. He's kind of built like Gabe Montenegro in that vein, but he's more powerful than Gabe. So he's going to be fun to watch. He's going to become a fan favorite quick.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, behind the plate, so the Miss got back Tucker Stockton and Lawson Odom, which Ostrander, of course, said that you can't even put into words how important it is to get both those guys back, just for the veteran presence behind the plate. But also, he even mentioned, he said Lawson Odom got, more reps than Tucker Stockton did 2 years ago.
Yep.
Tucker Stockton got more reps last year than Lawson Odom did, and he said he's really excited to see who takes that step this season. Of course, Stockton had that just tremendous finish to the season last year, and I thought he had a really good fall too.
He was my quiet MVP of last year's season because what he brought out of that 7 and 8 hole last year, completely different guy to play. He was always just a pull guy with some swing and miss. He started, taking pitches deeper into counts and deeper into, able to go. The biggest thing for him, able to go to the other side and extend at bats with foul balls and go to the backside.
I mean, that play he hit against Alabama in the regional, that was a
clutch.
I think it was one of the better relievers in the SEC.
I think the next step for him is I think they maybe changed his bat plane a little bit, looking for some more power out of him. So don't be surprised if he hits, approaches 10 home runs this year.
Yeah, and I would see him in the 5-6 role, I guess, to start the season.
Yeah, and you're thinking too, what a luxury to have a guy like that in your 7 or 8 hole if he ends up there again.
If he gets bumped down.
That's how deep that lineup could be.
I really don't know who I'd pencil in as my leadoff guy.
Yeah,
currently.
That's my biggest question.
That to me is my biggest, because who your power guys are in Russo, Gillespie, Urban.
It could very well be Joey Urban.
It really, it really could. And I think they did that last year, a couple lineups.
Yeah,
if I remember
and he did that a lot in the fall, and he's a really tough out.
Yeah.
Good eye. He can work the walks when he needs to, get deep into counts. So
and Ostrander talked about Joey Urban. He said, "quote one of the best hitters on the team."
Yeah,
and we saw that last season.
He's a tough out.
And I really think he's going to take a next step this year. From what he did last season, which he had a phenomenal season last season, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Davis Gillespie. And what he did in his freshman season. Of course, last year didn't have the greatest year at all. I mean, he was. Honestly lost at the plate at times.
Yeah, he was, and I think he'd probably admit that.
Right, and you talked to Travis Creel in the fall and talking to him recently, really, changed his swing, but Oz said a lot of players like that nowadays will say, listen, I want to go somewhere where they value me. And he said, no, it's frustrating, yes, but I'm ready to come back next year and be even better than I was my freshman year.
And it paid dividends in the fall. His strikeout numbers were way down, and his power numbers were back where you expected him to be. I mean, that season where he struggled so bad, he was late on fastballs, he was early on breaking balls, and he was, like you said, that's a recipe for lost.
Right.
That wasn't the case in the fall.
No, and when you think about what they have as far as offensively, especially in the outfield, and I was talking to Dre Barrett about this, and Matthew Russo, I just feel like there's not really enough places in the lineup for all these bats they have.
No.
I mean, this is probably the deepest offensive team that they've had in several years. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, like in fall, that was my question. Are they going to be as productive as the group prior to them? And yes, the extra base hits and the home runs were equal to, or if not better, than that group, fall over fall. So, I mean, lots to be excited about. The big questions for me and the big add-ons and the cherry on top of the cake, can Gillespie be that guy? What to add to the offense? And can a guy like, who's the kid from Kentucky that came here? Higdon. Can Higdon fulfill his potential and be that 15 home run guy and play a solid right field like Pato did?
Yeah.
If that happens, look out.
Yeah, and of course, if we had to pencil the lineup in right now, Higdon in right,
yep.
Stelly in center, left field is kind of
Urban,
Gillespie.
Probably Gillespie and DH again.
DH, yep. And then your field is pretty, simple of Barrett at third. Second is obviously Ty Long or Seth Smith. Kyle Morrison, it's short is Ty Long and Seth Smith. Second, Kyle Morrison. First, Matthew Russo.
Moranto.
Yep.
Yeah, and
then center catcher, I would assume Stockton starts.
Yeah, he is probably the best catcher this season in conference. He should be first team preseason, which I think he was.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the pitching rotation. Colby Allen, of course, seemingly penciled in as the Friday night guy unless something drastic changes. Graydon Harris is back as well, and Oz was talking about that he feels like he's, bigger, stronger, can command. And I was talking with Coach Leger and said that, what he was doing with his freshman, like 80% of the pitches he was doing was his fastball.
You talking about Graydon?
Yeah, Graydon.
Yeah, he threw actually 77% fastballs, which means at the opposing team, you're telling your guys to go up there and sit on a fastball, and he still was striking them out with it.
And I was talking with Gunnar Leger, and he was saying, man, he's now commanded those other pitches. And I'm expecting Graydon Harris to be phenomenal.
Graydon's poised to make a huge jump.
Yeah.
His change is playing up. His slider's playing up. He's landing them. And the fastball's always been just stupid good with tons of run.
Right.
So, yeah, he's poised to make a huge jump. Colby's a different dude. He had those 2 pitches he survived off of. Well, not survived. He's exceeded with those 2 pitches, the fastball and the slider. But now he's got a changeup. I talked to him a minute ago, just sitting there. He showed me the grip he's throwing on that changeup. It's kind of a what they call a turkey grip with 3 fingers.
Yeah, Gunner said that it's more like a Volker change.
He's using 3 fingers like this on the baseball.
Right.
And he said it's equally good to lefties and righties, and that was the case in the fall. He could strike either one of those guys out. And what's not fair is if you're a right-handed batter and you're sitting up there waiting for that sinking fastball and he throws that from the same arm slot.
Right.
His strikeout numbers should rise.
Yeah. Obviously, everybody's questioning who the third starter is going to be, and I really would say right now, I'm not going to put a name to it, but I'm wondering if they're not going to think, man, with all these hard midweeks they have to start, maybe my Sunday guy isn't my Sunday guy moving forward as far as through conference play.
Right.
Maybe we're going to run our Sunday guy out there on Tuesday
on a
night.
Tuesday, to have your bigger guy, and that very well could be McCarty English or Sundstrom.
Yeah.
Either one of those guys could fill either one of those roles. So.
And of course, we expect Crabtree to be, in the
no
mix
doubt.
there. I guess they lost Landon Payne, who was really their closer last season. And, of course, Colby now transitioning away from the relief role. Who do you think is going to come in and be a closer for them?
Probably the most impressive bullpen piece that was new that I saw in the fall was the transfer from Pearl River. I can't think of his name.
We'll remember it.
We'll go back. He was lights out during the fall. The question is, do you want him to be your Camden Clark? Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Dude,
I was off the top of my head.
He was a bulldog, man.
Yeah,
he was 94, 95 consistently, and his breaking stuff, his secondary stuff was fantastic. Strikeout to innings, off the charts. He was pretty much unhittable, but he's a guy. Do you want him to be your closer, that back-end monster, or you want that bridge piece that Colby kind of was, where you could bring him in on a Friday night in 2 or 3 innings and then bring him in again on a Sunday and shut somebody down to win a series. He can be that kind of guy.
Yeah. I'm looking at a guy like, Josh Hawk to kind of rebound. Not necessarily be the closer role for them, but give them some good relief, innings. And like you mentioned, Camden Sundstrom, who could be a starter this season. Sam Mitchell, freshman Sam Mitchell. Every pitcher that I talked to today said Sam Mitchell.
Sam's going to throw a lot.
And I think
Sam
he's going to
be a Tuesday guy too.
Yeah, they have so many options, and you could tell like Oz was kind of like, we got a pretty good staff, but in his mind he's like, this is freaking.
Oh,
dogs.
I could see him in a deer stand during hunting season, just rubbing his hands together, thinking about where I'm going to put these guys. He's got lots of tools in the toolbox.
For sure. Well, it's going to be an exciting season, and of course, 3 weeks away. They open the season with UC Santa Barbara, as everybody knows. That Friday afternoon, I guess it's a 4 p.m. first pitch.
So looking forward to that.
Flora versus Allen and that. And, of course, they'll both be on pitch count, so it's not going to be the finished product of either of those pitchers. But I think it's going to be good for this offense to see an arm like that.
You have 2 of the best right-handers in the country going at it.
Very tough schedule. And you asked Oz about that, and he said, listen, we can't control our conference schedule. And he was kind of alluding to Coastal Carolina not being on it. But, listen, we can control that non-conference schedule. UC Santa Barbara, they play – Mississippi State and Alabama early. They play Ole Miss early. They go on that Round Rock tournament with Oregon State, Baylor, and Purdue. Then, they got just a really incredibly, probably the toughest first 15 games. And you're like, man, if we could just get out 500, it feels like that would be great. But they want to be better than that.
Yeah, 500 and healthy, and you've so battle-tested your team for conference baseball play.
For sure. Well, it should be another good year, Glyn, and we're going to be here covering all of it.
I was telling somebody a minute ago that as we go through these, you come in each year saying, okay, pitching's a strong suit, or you come in hitting's a strong suit. This is the first year in a while that I've thought this is a pretty complete team. I don't see a ton of weaknesses if things play, if your middle infield settles and those guys can get it done, this could be a very good baseball team.
For sure. We'll be here every step of the way here on A View from the Press Box. And like I said, our tentative schedule currently is to do a show a week. So something like this where it's a little bit lengthier. I think we've been going for 20-25 minutes now. So a little bit lengthier than like what we were doing for football, which was like 5-10 minutes. and just kind of like recapping the weekend, where we want to see the team get better and stuff like that. And then, I think once we get closer to postseason play, we'll start maybe putting out some more stuff. And like Glyn said, we're going to try to get, some interviews where we get Oz in here maybe sometimes, Leger, a couple of the players.
Coach Creel.
Coach Creel, sure. And all that stuff. So once again, if you're watching this on the Pine Belt News YouTube channel, we're moving this part of what we've been doing onto a separate YouTube channel. That way it's just kind of more where we can decide what we do and stuff like that.
Right.
And promote both of our sites equally.
Yeah, and with that said, please support us and go to the YouTube site and subscribe and like. That's how you make that thing work.
Yeah.
And we'd appreciate it, certainly.
Yeah, for sure. And but like I said, we're going to try to do it as consistently as possible. And for the times that they're on away series, we'll try to do some like Zoom, and still put it out there.
Yeah, and set you up for the upcoming opponent.
Yeah. Anyways, but that's kind of our tentative schedule. We appreciate everybody listening and tuning in. And we're here in the Pete Taylor Private Press Box, and we're going to be here all season long. So that's Glyn Dyar with 247 Sports. Go follow his great coverage there. You can follow me on the Pine Belt News, Hub City Spokes. Follow both of us on Twitter, and subscribe, like, comment, whatever you want to do. And I do want to do a couple of live shows too, like where you guys can get into the comments and ask us questions and stuff like that. That would be awesome. So, Glyn, anything else you want to say?
Time, man. It's that time of year. The boys of summer.
That's right. All right, we'll see you back soon. We're going to try to do another recruiting show as well. That one was really everybody really liked that, and we'll kind of do, I think, near probably National Signing Day, and that way we can get kind of the whole class right. And we'll get that out to y'all as well. So, but for now, that's Glyn Dyar with 247 Sports. I'm Dima Mixon. Thanks for watching here at Baseball Media Day 2026, and tune in next time to A View from the Press Box.